Welcome to the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jared Bidney. On today's episode, I'll be talking with Cody Houser. The unique thing about Cody is he's actually my stepson. He's got two brothers, Kyle and Colton. We're going to talk to Cody about life at the gym and his experiences over the years. Cody, welcome to the podcast. The unique thing I tell people about Cody is Cody was not very heavy and he was not very strong as an eighth grader. He was actually below average in height and weight. Cody, you actually benched 85 pounds in the eighth grade, right?
That's correct.
What were your numbers by the time you finished high school? Do you remember them per year?
Well, I kept record of my bench press as I went along through high school. I made it a goal to try to get 100 pounds on top of my bench each year through high school. So ninth grade, I did 155 going in, and sophomore year, I did 250. And then junior year, I did 350. And by the time I hit that, I kind of peaked out because I didn't gain much weight from that time to senior year. So I think I only did like 385, maybe 405. And then squat, by my box squat senior year, I know I did 525 going into senior year. And I only weighed 160, 165.
Yeah, and like I said, the unique thing about you is you were there from the start. We actually started lifting in the garage. You always spotted me, and I would try to make you and your brothers work. But all three of y'all all hated lifting.
Yeah, it wasn't fun at the beginning.
But I was going to make y'all test subjects of the gym. Like your brothers Kyle and Colton, they'd be crying in the garage before the gym even started because I'd have them there squatting, and they'd be doing just fine. Your mama walks in, and I get yelled at.
They start crying, acting like something's wrong.
Yeah, so they cry, I get yelled at, and they get to leave. I said, "What the heck is this?" But I told your mother, I said, they're going to train. They have to be if we're going to do this gym thing, they're going to have to be the examples of this gym.
Yeah, because you can't have kids and own a gym and them just be scrawny kids, because that's no example for yourself.
Yeah, and if I was going to be the gym, y'all had to be the example because people like y'all have not been built yet.
Exactly. We had to act right. We had to do right. We had to train. We had to have correct form. If we didn't have the right techniques, the right attitude, then we'd set a bad example for the gym.
Yeah, and after I started getting y'all trained and your mama started understanding numbers and stuff, then she'd be like, "What are you doing? Why are their numbers not moving?" I said, "What the heck is this?" I go from getting yelled at for making them work out. Now I'm getting yelled at because they're not getting any better. Yeah, I mean, it was just a pain to get y'all in the car to get you to the gym because y'all hated it so much.
Well, when I first started, I didn't even want to work out with you because I felt like you had no freaking clue and didn't know anything. And I was like, I know more, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to be trained until I saw results, and I'm like, oh, maybe he might know something.
But I don't think you saw results in yourself. I think when Joe and some of the other kids at the gym that were your friends that you developed a relationship with, I think once you saw them getting stronger and you were stronger than them when they started, you're like, oh heck no, they're not going to beat me. So I remember one day, like when we first started the gym, Kyle was in there squatting. And he started crying when he was squatting. I told him to finish it. Or, I told him to finish it. If you quit, you're going to start over. And a parent was there watching with his kid and saw me pushing Kyle, and they didn't even come back for a few years. That was Pitzer, It's like, I think Kyle, if he saw somebody coming in, he was going to cry and get me in trouble, but and Kyle hated it. You and Colton started I put you on powerlifting.
Colton picked up on it more so because he would follow either me or Kyle at the time. So at that time he was following me, and he saw that I was lifting, so he figured he would lift, and then we just stuck with that. And Kyle didn't want to have any part of it.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, Kyle would go to powerlifting meets and
he'd just watch.
Yeah, not even be anywhere around. But I don't know what clicked. Later on, he ended up getting a world record in bench, and he started powerlifting. And he was pissed at me if I didn't let him come to the gym.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how the tables turn, but so it's like they cried. Danielle and Chanel and Joe, when they started, they would be at the gym crying because it's not always fun being there.
Yeah.
And their mom would start yelling at them for crying. So she was kind of more on my side. The same thing with Grayson and Garrett Munich.
Yeah.
Grayson Bullard and Garrett Munich. There's
Their
not
dad,
a lot.
Their dad's pushing them.
Yeah, they trusted me and they just let me do it. And I wasn't breaking the kid. The kid didn't want to do the exercise. So what a young kid does, it does not want to do an exercise.
They just give up.
Yeah, and they cry.
Yep.
They cried to let you make them quit. And I wasn't about that. And those parents are few and far between now. You know, like you had Sharice and Vernell that pushed Danielle, Chanel, and Joe, and you had Shaheen that pushed Grayson. You had Todd that pushed Garrett. You know.
Yeah, it's more like a new age versus old age type deal.
Yeah, and I remember one day, speaking of the twins, which is Danielle Chanel, they had the younger brother Joe. Their mom came to pick them up, and they did not finish their deadlifts. And they ran in the car to leave. They actually got in the car. I walked out to the car, and I said, "Hey, Sharice, they didn't finish their deadlift." Oh boy, she cussed them out, and kicked them out of the car, and said, "Your dad will be back to pick you up." And she left. Danielle and Chanel didn't even talk to me for about 2 weeks after that. After that, hey, but they got to work, and they ended up getting 2 full rides to Elon at a D1 university for volleyball. And one of them ended up getting a 49-inch standing box jump. You know, the highest vertical jump in the country at that time for the female in the box.
Yeah.
A lot of people run and jump on it. I think it's may be on my old YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the way I feel about the running and jumping, I feel like it's like cheating though. But I guess it's different forms of doing it.
Yeah, we've always just, I think a standing, because there's a difference between a standing explosive jump and a running jump. You know, you're more able to use elastic stored energy running and jumping versus just straight up power.
Yeah.
From not running and jumping. Like I said earlier, you benched 85 in the 8th grade, and y'all had to be test subjects at the gym, whether you wanted to be or not.
Yeah.
Y'all had to be the example. But you benched 85 pounds in the 8th grade. Colton benched 335. You know, like Colton, I think I've got an Instagram video of Colton doing that in the 8th grade and box squatting 400 plus. He had the strength and speed of a high school senior and killing folks. And that's the advantage of starting young. It's kind of crazy. You know, like what if you had to play a kid like that when you was in 8th grade?
Yeah, I mean that definitely wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
I thought I had an advantage starting out at being, 12 years old over the other people in middle school, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm working out all the time, and Colton's in the background. Nobody's really paying much attention to him. He's still working out, and then all of a sudden he comes up and is doing all this weight, and everybody's like, oh.
Yeah, and that's just the advantage of starting young. It's kind of crazy. Like Louis Simmons of Westside Barbell even told me that I was crazy. I had Zach Seymour deadlifting 3 times body weight at 9 and 10 years old. You know, Louis said, "You're crazy." But, I'm dealing with kind of young kids. A lot of people don't deal with young, and I like them when they're starting about 8 or 9 years old. And but Zach has not been consistent coming to the gym over the years, but he still jumped a 33-inch vertical with 35 pounds in each hand, and was number 7th in the country the same year Colton was. Colton was number 1. Zach was number 7.
Yeah.
So if you train young, you develop qualities that will come out later. Kids' performances numbers don't show up like the high school will until later. Like when you, Kyle, and Colton were running your 40s when we first started the gym, y'all were all 12 and under, and you may run the same thing 2 or 3 months in a row. But then all of a sudden, what did you get? Yeah, 4.61. What was your?
I think my best was a 4.64, but for the longest time, it took forever to break the 5s, and then I feel like I hit a stopping point when I was at 4.8s, and then I jumped directly down to a 4.6. It just happened.
Yeah, but you're rare. You get a kid like you you didn't get the advantage Colton did of starting younger,
No, not at all.
but he's never beat you in box squat either, has he?
No, he's almost come close. Even though he has still weighed more than me, he still hasn't beaten me in box squat.
Yeah, because the advantage of having three brothers train like that is you're the oldest.
Yeah, I got to do the most weight, obviously.
Yeah, because you ain't gonna let little brother beat you. And same thing with Kyle and Colton. Kyle would outbench Colton sometimes, and Colton would outbench Kyle.
Yeah.
They would just go back and forth, but you're saying y'all ain't never catching me.
Exactly.
So, but what made you different is you didn't get that advantage of starting. And I think Kyle and Colton were
Colton were 8 and 9, I think.
Yeah, they started in 3rd and 4th grade.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And so Grayson started. I think Grayson started when he was eight or 9, and Colton benched 405 for a double as a high school junior. And Grayson, if he gets his butt back to the gym, he's supposed to be coming during football season, but I'm gonna have to call Shaheen and fire Shaheen as a parent for not bringing Grayson or making Grayson's butt come in. I need that 405 for 2 as another high school junior.
Yeah.
But Colton actually told me he hated the gym until he was better than everyone else, and I think that's a problem with kids is they don't feel like going to the gym, and
they don't want to go to the gym if they aren't basically better than somebody. And even if I feel like nowadays, if a kid's better than somebody, they're like, oh, I don't have to try anymore until that person that they thought that they were beating is beating them. And I feel like that's just the way it's been lately.
Yeah, and I wish you'd have those parents like we talked about earlier. Put your kids in the gym whether they hate it or not. Oh, I'm not sending my kid there if you don't like it. Well, it ain't whether if you.
A kid's not going to know what's best for them when they're that young, basically.
Yeah, and whether they like it or not, you need to put the interest in and be there for your kid. If your kid don't like it, but if you know he wants to do this, hey, Jared, my kid wants to play college football. He's 10 years old. Okay, that kid wants to play college football and he's 10 years old. What are you doing to help him? You're letting him make life decisions at 10 years old, saying, hey, you're not going to go train if you don't like it? Okay, so you're not really helping him. You're just kind of feeding him whatever he wants. And what he wants is college football, but you're not giving it to him. But you're saying you're helping him.
Exactly.
Like parents, if you only bring your kids to the gym for a month or 2 and you don't come back, I don't want to ever see your face again because it's a waste of my time. You know?
Well, yeah, because if you're only coming for a month or 2, you're not going to see any results. And even if you come like twice a week, like even now, if I have a lot of stuff going on, if I get too busy and I go twice a week to the gym, I know that week's only going to be a maintain week from the previous week. Like I'm not going to get any stronger. I'm just maintaining. And so at the beginning of working out, if the first month or 2, you can go twice a week and get some results, but you're not going to get everything that you want.
Yeah, but I think y'all are unique because you've learned that if you're not consistent with it, your numbers fall.
Exactly.
Especially when you become more of a higher level. And what I was saying about these parents bringing their kids for a month or 2, they're in my way. Either you're in with me or you're not. So either you're in or you're in my way.
Because you want the people that are going to be dedicated to want to get better.
Yeah, and they're in my way because I'm taking time to help their kid that's only there for a month or 2.
And then they leave.
And they leave, and it's taking time away from the kids that really want to be there. So that's not fair. So I just rather them go to the gym down the street that just wants to play patty cakes.
It's just like them going to some random 24-hour gym and just going around playing in there.
Yeah, if you want to be great, come to the gym. If you want to be average, go somewhere else. Get out of my way, because you're in the way of me and helping someone else. And we was talking earlier about training introverts versus training extroverts. I'm a very introverted person. You get me outside the gym, I'm not going to talk a whole lot. I don't know much in this world except for strength conditioning. Colton's very introverted. We went saw we had dinner last night with some friends, and me and him just kind of sat there and looked at each other. We didn't even talk to each other.
Y'all probably didn't even say any words either.
Very few, but I didn't really notice back then. But Louis said there's a difference between training introverts and training extroverts. Now that I have experience in looking back on all the kids that were successful and worked hard, most of them were introverts. You're introverted when you go out in public. You've gotten better as you've gotten older, but as far as more of the younger population, you just kind of want to go to your own world, get your work done, and you're okay with doing the same exercises over and over.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know Louis Simmons of Westside Barbell, look him up. He's ahead of the time, but we don't have the experience to understand, which means he told me years ago about the training introverts and extroverts, but I didn't understand what he meant until I had to actually deal with it. So sometimes life experiences will help you the most with that. Cody, we're going to talk more about your training, and we've kind of changed things a lot over the years. What was your let's just give your numbers. Your best, I don't even know if you know this, but you're still top 10 in the world for IPF for that squat you did. I think you weighed
530.
No, it was 50. You weighed the top 10 number.
Before that?
Yeah, your top 10 number is 501 squat at 161.
Yeah.
How old were you? Do you remember? That was Raw Nationals. Where did we had to fly out to Colorado for that.
I think I was probably 18 or 19, I think.
I don't know if you were. Did we go out to Colorado to get you into the Arnold?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Cody was also in the Arnold Classic as well.
Yeah, I was in the Arnold.
That was the whole goal. Once we figured out what a Wilks score, we didn't know anything as we was going about all this stuff.
Yeah, we didn't know it until basically that year that we were like, oh, we have to have this Wilks score to get in. And then once we went to the competition, then like right when registration opened for the Arnold, we had to sign up right then and there because it got so full so quick.
Yeah, we always chased these powerlifting meets. We had Team Explosive. We would travel around as a bunch of teenagers, and we were competing with a bunch of adults, getting second and third place all the time, and everybody wondered what's in the water down there.
Yeah.
What did you notice as your strength? We didn't really focus on your running speed and jumping ability all the time.
No, not really.
We just focused on the powerlifting numbers. We were trying to lift. We were trying to go to powerlifting meets and beat everybody.
Yeah, well, we're basically number driven at that point, just trying to get more higher maxes, higher weight, more weight at the same body weight or the same weight class. Because if you go up a whole weight class, you're gonna have to deal with a whole new crowd of people that have already been in that weight class for so long and are already doing more weight than what you would normally do.
Yeah, and so as we learned, as you got stronger relative to your body weight, your running got better, your jumping got better, and you just got stronger. And the same thing that happened with Spieka and even Alex, and those two squatted 600 in competition.
Yep.
When we first started, like, what kind of backtrack to the beginning is, you said you didn't listen to me. You know, what the heck's this guy know? And you didn't want to get better, but yeah, we would have some. Me and you argued a heck of a lot in the beginning. Yeah. You were hard headed. You kind of want to do things your way. But the moment I realized you cared, because I videotaped everything. I was trying to show you technique. No, I'm not listening. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I'd even hate when you'd count the reps. I get pissed at that. I remember that too.
I'd try to video you and record you. You'd go run away and hide. I was like, but it's good. It was at the beginning because we didn't have any. It was y'all basically got stuck with me.
Yeah, we didn't have nobody else to go to.
Yeah, and so like, okay, so we'd sit there and argue, chase each other around the gym, and I'd try to get you to do this, and you was trying just as hard to fight me not to do it. But I caught you one day. I videoed you, and you wasn't going to listen, and I probably cussed you out to where it was not good. You took the camera after I done videotaped you, and you went and hit it and watched the video because you didn't want me to see that you were looking and actually paying attention and actually starting to care.
I think I remember that. It was the old freaking gray camera that we had, I think it was.
Yeah, we actually broke a couple of cameras because we used them so much. I was trying to do whatever it took to show someone, if you do this, you'll get a little bit better. But they didn't start listening. They didn't start listening until y'all started actually getting better. You know, Joe was the same. Joe was the same way.
Yeah, because once people saw that we were, shooting up in numbers, they were like, oh, maybe we need to start hanging around them, and start doing what they're doing. And it kind of, at first it was like, all about learning how to do it, and feeling the way your body moves with the weight, and learning the movement. But then it became about the form, and then once you get the form down, then that's when all the weight starts adding up.
Yeah, so I mean, starting the gym, we started the gym with equipment, but then we started the gym with like a little pile of clay. I had to build y'all, like on the back of our original shirts, Explosive Mechanics was called Building Athletes.
Yeah.
I didn't have any athletes. I had to build y'all from the ground up. But once y'all got rolling, I mean, you were after, I don't know what clicked, but I remember you watching the videos. This is all at the old gym. I don't know who you saw or what happened, but you would go in and you would do box jumps all the freaking time. You would set them up, and I'd say, you can't. I don't know if it was me saying you can't do it. And I don't know if I would say that to piss people off. I try to get in y'all's heads. At first, I'd get in y'all's heads, piss y'all off. Then instead of pissing y'all off and making you want to work harder, y'all ran the freak away.
Well, I know a lot of times after I started getting better, you'd sit there and say, "Oh, you can't do this," and I honestly feel like you legit think I couldn't do it, and then I'd go and do it, and then the box squats, or not the box squats, the box jumps. I don't remember why I kept doing it. I think I kept wanting to get higher and higher and higher and see how high I'd be able to jump. But then I ended up doing it too much. I ended up like with a fracture in my foot, or I stressed it because of how many times I did it.
Yeah, and I didn't care what y'all did as long as you got better. But eventually, y'all came driven to that point to where you were kind of developed the same mind frame.
Yeah.
And I think the people around you, like even like the Brooks Hardys, yeah, he got that way. Y'all were pretty good friends.
Yep.
What
it all probably at the end of the first gym, and the main highlights of the second gym is where all that mindset came together, and everybody fed off of each other and pushed each other to work, and it was more like a family, you'd say, because everybody wanted everybody to get better, and if somebody wasn't getting their rep, somebody would be on them, pushing them, hey man, come on, get your rep, and everybody would be just feeding off each other for higher maxes, better numbers, faster times, everything.
Yeah, I think at the Zach Lasky, he came at the first gym.
Yeah.
Do you remember him coming in or not really?
I don't think I remember Zach so much. I remember John Roberts.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he'd always jump. I think that's probably why I wanted to jump, because he jumped so high, but he was a heck of a lot taller than me.
Yeah, I wish I could. I know John Roberts had a 10-something broad jump. We didn't have the vertical jump mats until the second gym. So we did a lot of box jumps. We did box jumps with a weighted vest and things like that. John was, I don't know if he jumped on a 50-inch box with a 40-pound vest.
I don't even remember.
I think they're on my old YouTubes. But yeah, a lot of people looked up to him, and he was very explosive. And he didn't agree with some of the stuff that I was wanting to do. But he went from pitching 88 to about 93 and ended up getting a D1 scholarship to pitch for Georgia Tech, one of the top baseball teams in the country at that time.
Yeah.
And so I think if you looked up to him, you drove, and then I think what happened is once y'all started getting so strong, then the younger kids started coming to y'all, then y'all were stronger than them, then y'all had to uphold your identity because you didn't want anybody younger than you.
Yeah, taking our name, basically.
Yeah, because we had that board.
Yeah, it was all about the board. I feel like towards the beginning, at the first gym, the numbers were up, and that's when it started to be competitive, because people were like, oh, that number is actually reachable. And the second gym, it would be like, okay, a lot of the more advanced guys were competing for the same, records up there, and it'd be every week, at least one number would get changed because everybody would want to keep getting higher and higher, maxes and want their name up on the board. And now I feel like kids come in the gym nowadays to the new gym and they see it and they're like, oh man, that's a high number. And then they don't even think about trying to beat it. They just see it and look at it and then that's it.
Yeah, I think the board at first was a great idea to get you, because me and you even competed for pull-ups. I would do 15, you do 16. I got to where I did 31. What'd you do? You beat me at 32. Did you ever beat me?
It was either 32 or 33 or something like that.
Yeah, and after you beat me, I inflamed my biceps and my elbows trying to beat you to get some even more. So I said, screw it, he can have it. What was it like? The first gym was just kind of building and getting together. That second gym really had, because it was down in a hole.
Yeah, it was just
dark ceilings.
Yeah,
ceilings were low. It was kind of really the grinding place. That's when I think when we all moved there. Brooks was at the first gym with us.
Brooks was there.
Brooks,
the second
Lasky, Alex Bard,
Antonio.
Joe, and Antonio was a freak that a lot of people don't even realize. I wish he was still around. He actually called me a couple of weeks ago, and y'all are so old now. It's when you come to the gym, you don't even recognize the people.
Yeah,
you're like, what the heck's wrong with these kids? But there's some good kids in the making if they just stick with it.
Yeah, I feel like they don't realize the long run of what can be. Like, I have kids at the gym, like whenever I visit, like, oh, hey, Cody, is that, I guess it used to be like, oh, I'm going to get your numbers up on the board. But then, the kids will sit there and work hard, but eventually they'll take breaks and take time off and they won't stick with it. And, they forget about that goal that they had where, I've always been goal driven. Like, if I have a goal, I'd have to be at this certain time. I'd have numbers written down in the back of my folder for each meet. I'm like, okay, I need to get this number at this meet. And then if I didn't get that, I'd write down what I actually got for each one of them. And if I met that, then I'd base those numbers for the next meet. And I'd just prepare myself and keep going off of that. So
do you think it's the powerlifting that got you motivated for the numbers? Or what do you think? What do you think made it click? Because I've always been I've been a crazy number. I fight for the numbers because I don't think
I feel like the numbers was more of competition within the gym. It made you want to be the best person in the gym, be the strongest person in the gym, be the fastest person, jump the highest, everything. You want to, be one of the highlights and the top dogs in the gym. And then I felt like powerlifting came after that because then I was like, oh, you realized you were strong. So then you felt like you can compete at powerlifting. Yeah, exactly. Because your bench numbers went up really good. What's your best competition bench number? Do you remember? It was our last competition. It was at Raw Nationals in Atlanta, and it was 371 pause. Yeah. I want to say. And it's a lot. And in the gym, I allow y'all to lift your butt up, kind of bad technique. But I think the bad technique teaches you how to even get stronger. It's a form of strength training, actually. Yeah, and it helps you be able to handle that more, the greater weight. The more weight, you'll be able to handle it easier if you're training with heavier weight. Yeah, and I kind of got that out of the book Super Training. It talked about a cheating method. There's forms of cheating that are safe and that help overload the body. And Louie's always told me to put people in briefs or gear makes you stronger because it changes your strength curve. And so by someone cheating on the bench, or if you like, some people may criticize someone's butt coming off the bench, but that's a form of cheating, like you said, to get them to overload so that they're able to handle the whole. It's kind of like cheating with your butt off the bench and treating. We're not using gear. Yeah, but you become used to that heavy weight. So then once you start training back, like I would train maybe a month before to get back into the habit of keeping my butt on the bench. Yeah, we'd try to take your cheat bench, get it to a number, go back with your strict competition bench, and drive that number to where the cheat number is because you've already experienced that
the
weight.
stress. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think the gym has done for you as far as strength? You played football in high school. You played soccer, and you also golfed.
Yep.
What do you think strength has done for you, especially like going through high school?
I mean, it helps a lot with confidence. I remember at the first gym, I'd always sit there and I started feeling good about myself, about the weight I did, and somebody would say, "Oh, I did this for this many," and I'd be like, "Oh, well, I can do this," and then I remember you had to sit there and sit me down and talk to me and say, "Look, you can't sit there and say you can do this and you can do that to people, and then you just look like a jackass the whole time, and you have to let them, it be a surprise, and then it's more like a hidden feature that people don't know about. Like even today, people don't know that I can do so much weight until somebody actually witnesses it."
Yeah, we don't really talk about it. We kind of try to show it.
Yeah, exactly.
I told a kid at the gym the other day was bragging about, "Hey, I could do more than that," and I said, "Look," I said, if you're stronger than that person, you don't go over there and brag to that person. That strength is given to you as a gift. You've earned it. Now take that strength that you've given or have gotten and use it to teach someone else to be like you. I said, if you want to be someone, teach someone to be better than you. You don't go over there and brag.
And I felt like me being at the gym all the time, I obviously had to train other people because of, the lack of staff, basically.
Yeah, because I don't have any staff. Y'all, we were the gym.
Yeah, and I felt like me training other people on form helped my my own form, and basically, helping other people helped my own form in a sense of me watching my technique, and even as I was warming up on like squats or bench or whatever, I'd sit there and watch my arm or watch my knees and how much I squat back and do that. But relating it back to sports in high school, it helped a lot with my confidence, and especially with football being so light, I had to have more strength, or else I basically wouldn't play. There'd be no way for me to play at all if I wasn't. I mean, I'd be just like a kicker, and that'd be it.
And you came from a super small 8th grader at 85 pounds, 8th grade, to being a captain your junior year. And you actually started as wide receiver, kicker, punter.
Defensive end. And I remember one practice.
So all that work you did, that's what I was trying to tell you earlier. You're so unique, is that all you've done, within that short period, you had 8th grade, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. You had those 5 years. What you did is you pushed harder than anybody else has in those 5 years. You had a lot of makeup time you had to get done.
Yeah.
And there was something inside you that drove you to make sure you were going to be the best. And your record speed of increasing has got a lot to do with your internal drive. And I think that's what makes you've hit some tremendous numbers within a short period of time. Your brother Colton benched 335 in 8th grade, but he had a lot more time to go from point A to point B than you did.
Well, it's the same time frame essentially.
Yeah.
But
But he got that time frame
at an earlier age.
Which made him more, I guess, freakish at that realm in life.
Yeah. And basically we were all called freaks.
Yeah, y'all were all freaks. All of y'all jumped to 44. You've jumped to 46-1. Mm-hmm. I'd have to look to see where Kyle's above a 44.
Kyle I remember that day because my record was I want to say like a 42.3 or something like that. And Kyle went and jumped a 44.4, something like that. And I was like, all right. And everybody was like, oh, Kyle beat you. I was like, all right, this isn't happening. So I go turn on some heavy metal song and I get pumped up and I go over there and jump a 46-1, and I'm all jacked after that, just ready to tear anything down.
Yeah, and I talked to Lasky about that. We play what we want to at the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
We ain't got no one telling us what to do. If we want something explicit, if we want something loud,
sometimes you have to have that to get the numbers you want.
Yes, the atmosphere. You find something inside you that you can turn on to where you can go out there and you can grind and you can get it.
Yeah, I remember at one of the meets that were actually held at the gym, Sam came up to me after one of my lifts. He was like, "What was that?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You look like completely different out there." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Your whole face was like just like mad or something." I was like, "Oh." I was like, I was in the zone.
Yeah, we always did stuff to try to. It was always about beating something. We were never there to work out. We went there for fun. We were there to win.
No, and even when I didn't have somebody, training with me to compete against, I would always train with Joe and we'd compete against each other. But once he, wasn't there, I had to compete against myself or somebody that, did a lot more weight than me that I basically had no chance of beating, but I wanted to be and beat that person.
Yeah, and y'all have always tried to catch my bench, but I ain't gonna let that happen.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was out jumping Kyle, then all of a sudden Kyle started out jumping me one day. And once y'all passed me, I knew it was over because then
you just gave up.
Yeah. I was trying to get. By the time I try to get to a 40, I get broke. But but eventually, I would compete with y'all. Then y'all got better than what I was at.
Yeah, because I think I don't. Yeah, because I don't remember if...
I don't know if I jumped.
I think... Did you do broad jump still? Did we compete on broad jump?
We did at the first gym, but then...
It was only like 8 foot, though.
Yeah, my best broad jump's 9. Since we started the gym. My best vertical's 37. And once y'all got to 40, it's like... Freak! All
right, good luck, Jared.
Yeah, I got to find somebody else. I got to find someone else to compete with because if you're kicking my ass all the time, I'm not. I got to find someone that's around. So I'll go find the next small kid. Say, hey, kid, let's go.
Oh man.
But I was at Clayton State this past week, and I told the guys, I said, look, we're going to do dumbbell jumps today, and for those of you that I trained with last year or that trained with me.
Or the new kids have no idea.
Yeah, they have no clue. And they go, I said, all right, if any of the new guys that I did not train last year can beat me in a dumbbell jump, y'all can go home. Today we'll do that. But if you don't, we're doing suicides all day.
Did you ever jump with them?
I did. And I just...
Oh, so the old guys knew what you did, basically.
Well, yeah, because I did the same thing to them last year.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to... They were like, what the freak? Because I got to the point to where if I wanted to jump a 15-inch vertical with 30s, I'm pretty much on 15-something. If I want to jump a 21 with 30s, I think a guy jumped a 25.3 the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll beat you. And I didn't even warm it. I gave them a couple of jumps. I jumped to 25.5. And they said, Coach, go all out. I said, no. I said,
no, you're going to hurt something.
I'm not done. I told him I'm not done dumbbell jumps in a year. But I know my body, and I have very good kinesthetic awareness as to where if I want to jump something with a certain weight in my hand, I know my limitations. My best jump with the 30s is a 30. My best jump with the 40s is a 28.1, and my best jump with the 35s is a 29.1. And I said, I know my numbers, just like you. You can recall all your numbers. I think Holton could probably recall his. The people that care about numbers can recall numbers. Like if you ask Louis Simmons about recalling numbers, you can recall numbers. My best Paul's squat with a safety squat bar is 420 at a 0.51. I know where my number, and I've not done that in a while. I'm just trying not to break myself in there from pushing so hard. I've got to learn how to scale down and back off. Just like as y'all got older, I said, Cody, you can't keep doing this forever, because we were so driven and trying to push from point A to point B.
Yeah. I think what helps the best on the freaking explosiveness, though, is that dang Tendo unit. Because I wish I was still able to use it now, even though I'm not in the gym. I like, you know, when I
Yeah,
go,
once we got that Tendo, it was a game changer.
yeah, it makes you want to try. And I even tell people, you know, that don't go to explosive about it, and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they look at the price to buy the $10 unit. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
But there's a price for results. You know, like you got some other things out there. I actually had a guy email me today. I don't have my email in front of me, or I'd pull it up. But he was asking, you know, he kind of wants to do the same thing, and he looked at the price of a Tendo unit and said it was expensive. He can't afford it right now, but I understand a high school kid or a parent not wanting to buy a kid a $1,400 Tendo unit.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna look around and see if I can find it. But I like the Tendo unit because it's in front of your face, and you get a
Instantaneous speed of what you're doing, so you know how fast you're moving the bar.
yeah. And we rest long enough between sets to where if you can do another set, we're trying to beat the numbers of the first set.
Yeah.
The I don't know, and we don't. I've not jumped with 45. I'm not recording my 45s. We don't jump with light weights either, do we?
No, it's usually. I think. I don't even think.
Have you ever jumped with 25s?
No.
20s?
I've always done 30. I think. I know. I did 25s like 1 week that I hadn't done dumbbell jumps in a long time, but that was it.
So we I told people I'm going to come out with a book to show how we did it and things like that. We've experimented with a lot of different box jumps. Never really, because box jumps, jumping on the boxes never really got our verticals up, did it?
No, I found what helped me the most was when I started doing more hamstring work and doing leg curls. It drove my squat up, and it drove my jump up a lot. It just went hand in hand.
Yeah, because your hamstrings cross the hip, and your hamstrings actually cross hip, causing the hips to extend. And so if you look at jumping ability, you need to train the muscles that causes the hip, which are your glutes and your hamstrings. And your rectus femoris does cross the hamstring, but also has a lot to do with knee extension. And so that's why your quads are so important. But the rate of which we did the Tendo unit really helped a lot too. But I said, Cody, you're going to start working on this. And I think when you realize that, you're basically on your, that was your first year of college?
Of being on my own.
When did you learn to realize that the hamstrings?
I figured out the hamstrings when I had went off to college and I wasn't at explosive and I had to do it on my own. And I was like, okay, my squat isn't going up, and it's kind of staying the same. I need to figure out what's going wrong. And I knew that my hamstrings were always weak, but I didn't think that it would affect it that much. And I was like, you know what? I need to start doing leg curls and strengthen my hamstrings. So I do that and 45 hyper, and it actually started working. It actually shot my box squat right up. And I ended up, I think that first year I started doing that, and by the next year I had already squatted 600 pounds twice.
Yeah, well, I put a video of you on Instagram jumping. You've also jumped on a 58-inch seated box vertical. Remember that?
Yeah, I think it was 57 or 58.
So I think sometimes when y'all learn the most is when you've been away, because I've tried to teach y'all as we go, but y'all don't care to listen to why. You just wanted me to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Kyle, and Kyle would always argue me, you're not helping me. I said, I am helping you by not helping you, and you got to understand that.
Reverse psychology.
And so he thinks just because I'm helping him by giving him numbers and what he needs to do per workout, but I'm not helping him because when you leave the gym, I'm not always going to be around.
No, you got to kind of figure out, what schemes you got to do with sets and reps, and figure out when to change up those sets and reps, and when to change up your form if you've been doing that same type of form for too long.
Yeah, you've done 50 bar squat.
Yep.
We've done front squats. We'll
Yep.
squat with chains.
Yep.
Box squat.
Yeah,
regular squat.
Banded squat.
Well, we're always changing the squat, and we're always changing the squat, but we're always trying to beat the tendo unit when we changed the squat.
Yeah, we're always every squat is still explosive, just like every bench press, even though it's hard to get a tendo unit on there.
Yeah, I spoke about that the other day about the tendo unit don't measure our bench press speeds, but
It's too short of a stroke, basically.
yeah, because we're not average bencher, so we're not going to be pushing the bar 14 inches. But I think the thing was once you got away, you realized, okay. Then I think you tried to even start learning more, didn't you?
Yeah, I kind of tried to figure out what helped me the most and what benefited me, and what I wanted to do to make my numbers increase. Because after that last competition I went to, I'd been at school for already a year and a half of working out and doing my own thing, and my numbers went up since the previous competition, and I was still in the same weight class. So and I know that last time my squat was struggling, I stayed at 501 for the longest time, and it finally jumped up to 530. I think it was 530, exactly around that, and then that was easy. And then I tried 551 and I failed.
Yeah, but you barely missed that too.
Yeah, it was barely. Yeah.
Sometimes we'd go to meets and we'd box squat only, then we'd go to the meets and you had regular squat, right? Or do we?
It just like I mentioned earlier, it's like about a month out, I would swap back to regular squat just to get back in the habit and to feel that the way and the form.
Yeah, because a lot of people get nervous, and the only one allowed me to. I made Alex Yelverton box squat all the way up until his last Raw National meet, and he actually squatted 661 without doing a regular squat before.
Dang.
But I think that's rare. I like to, but it's that thing in your head that you just got to trust some things sometimes.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary to do.
But but I never let y'all train with belts either, did we? Not even training.
No, all of my maxes in the gym have, even till today, have been without a belt. The only time I max with a belt is in the competition, and people think I'm crazy because of that.
Yeah, and we don't and
I don't use wrist wraps either.
Yeah, we don't gear up at the gym. Is what I call gear. People put on their knee sleeves.
Yep, I don't use my knee sleeves either.
Put on their belt.
Nope.
We go in there completely raw, and because we got to compete as an athlete just as much as a lifter.
Yeah, like I got a buddy I work out with now, and he'll use his belt every now and then, and use wrist wraps whenever he benches. He's like, "You don't use any of that stuff?" I was like, "No, I never train with that at all." I was like, "I don't even use it unless I'm at a competition."
Yeah, you should tell them people that use wrist wraps have weak wrists.
That's what I told him. He's like, well, one wrist is weak, so I feel weird if it's not on the other one. I was like, well, whenever I had a problem for like a week, I just used it on that one, and then after that week was gone, I just got over it and I stopped using them.
Yeah. Looking back now, what would you think you would change if you could do anything different, or do you think the experiences, because we kind of grew up with the gym, you've seen it transition from no one there to a butt ton of people there to what it is now. What would you tell someone if you go back and talk to young Cody again as an 8th grader? What do you think you would tell yourself?
I mean, obviously I didn't realize it at first, but obviously I needed to stick with it. Basically, you gotta commit to it, and you gotta stay with the routine and doing it all the time, which I ended up finally doing.
It just took a little while to get the ball rolling because you just got to trust the process.
Yeah.
At first you don't feel like you're really good at it until you become good at it. Then when you become good at it, you want to stay good at it.
Yeah, exactly. Like even now, I'm out of explosive, and I still want to be better than anybody that still goes there, or anybody that is in a gym that I'm at. I want to be the best person in there.
Yeah, because if you, yeah, and I think that's the way. But just because. What I was trying to get at earlier too, you start off. You were not the best person in the gym at a young age.
No, I was never naturally strong.
And we've got a process, and you just worked hard.
Exactly.
And people look at y'all and say genetics.
Yeah, or steroids.
Yeah, I like that comment. Y'all been how many times have you been drug tested?
Shoot.
You know that's
I know. I think it was 3 competitions in a row that I was drug tested, and then I think it was probably about 4 times total. But there was like 3 in a row that I was tested.
yeah, that's pretty cool. I like getting drug tested. I like y'all getting drug tested because that just proves.
And it was even like one time I walked like right out after a lift, and they were, "Hey, are you Cody Houser?" I was like, yeah." And they're like, "All right, we gotta do a drug screen."
Yeah, you know you're strong when you're getting drug tested.
Yeah.
The I had a parent one time come to the gym, Brooks Hardy. Brooks was about as athletic as a dead turtle. I mean, Brooks was freaking, and Cody knows Brooks, and Brooks used to hang out all the time and compete together, but Brooks didn't really have a freaking clue. And
Well, we didn't think he'd come back either.
yeah, but Brooks's parents dropped Brooks off at the gym, and I got a check, but I never saw the parents for 2 years. I was like, what the hell's this kid doing here? And he was there every day. He was there every month, unlimited.
Yeah.
Showed up. What do you do? I don't do anything. You don't play any sport? I played football, but I broke a vertebrae in my neck. I said, oh, shit.
Yeah, they didn't want him to play again.
And so I said, okay, what are we going to do? Well, they kept dropping Brooks off and dropping Brooks off. I said, well, Brooks, if you're going to be here, we're going to get better.
Yeah.
And but Brooks was there, and he wanted to work. His starting bench max in 8th grade, Cody, 75 pounds.
That's ridiculous.
And he left. Toward the end, he was kind of more worried about what he was going to have to be doing because Brooks actually ended up getting a scholarship to go throw with Air Force and was 2 inches shy of breaking the all-time Air Force record as a freshman.
Yeah.
Brooks started kind of doing he was more nervous about whether he was going to have to do at Air Force instead of what he was going to do at the gym.
Yeah, yeah.
And Brooks got up to a 385 bench while he was at the gym. So he went from a 75-pound 9th grade bench to a 385 high school senior bench. And what I was saying is he was about as athletic as a dead turtle, but he became to be somebody. A lot of people looked up. Brooks went from a 5.4 40-yard dash.
Yeah, like nobody would have recognized Brooks back in the day, basically.
Yeah, up to a 5.4 to a 4.5 40. He was also one. You and him were a couple of the first people to actually hit a 40-plus inch vertical.
Yeah.
Once y'all, because
once we did it, people were like, "Oh, you can actually do that."
But that's when I realized that maybe I know something because, like you said, y'all were not natural at that crap.
No, never.
Brooks was not.
Definitely not.
But yeah, people got to realize and get it out of their head that just because you're not good at it or because you're not natural at it, don't mean you can't become great at it. I mean, people looked up to y'all. Y'all were the gym. Like even Carson Bobbitt, we even had him throwing over 100 miles an hour with a lacrosse ball.
Yeah, yeah.
And but y'all were friends. You, Carson, and Brooks were friends. Y'all hung out.
Yeah.
Then y'all started driving each other.
Yeah.
And then once y'all started driving each other, you were passing.
It's the limit is unlimited basically at that point.
Yeah, and so I think with y'all there, and I think it was either Ben Baggett plays at Stanford or Alston now at the Tennessee Titans as a punter. He came to the gym because he heard of you. And so it's like I said, Austin, what made the gym and started everything? He said, everybody there was freakishly strong.
Yeah, everybody knew that we were freaks basically, and they were like, I want to do that.
Yeah, we even had some kids come from Auburn High School, which is from Auburn, Alabama, up to here. It's about an hour and a half drive, and they'd come weekends here. Remember Spencer Perry? He went to went through Notre Dame. He was going to Auburn High School, traveling up to the gym 2 and 3 days a week.
Yep.
And made a trip and ended up getting a scholarship to Notre Dame to play. And so I think once you have the examples of the people, and I believe I just got lucky because I had y'all.
Yeah, but it's not like some gyms may have, one or two good examples, but we had multiple. We had multiple great examples of what you could be. And people, at first, they're like, "Oh, well, the results aren't happening." Well, you got to stick with it. It ain't gonna happen overnight.
Yeah, and your stuff and Brooks' stuff did not just take off.
No, it takes years.
Yeah, and once you develop the drive and learn to drive, and you won't. I think what y'all got to the point like you and Brooks was at the first gym and at the second gym. Brooks really started caring even more and more and more. Then I was having to tell y'all, no, don't do this. No, then y'all were wanting to work, but you were overworking.
Yeah.
And I got Brooks to squat. He would start off with a 255 front squat. And we went to 365 in 8 weeks. And he went from a 5 flat 40 at that point to a 4.8 40-yard dash. And I knew that's when I directly correlated strength was related to our speed a lot better than just running and stuff all the time. And so we didn't do any running stuff.
No, the only running we did was with the freaking prowler.
And we never did power cleans.
No, never.
We had the highest vertical jump kids in the country.
Yeah, even back in the day when I only jumped a 37, I think it was like a 37.6 or something like that at the Nike Combine, I had people come over and watch it because they didn't believe it was right at first.
Yeah, and I think they made Colton jump like 14 times.
Yeah, they made him do it too.
But didn't they take I think they even did the same thing to Kyle. All three of y'all, I made y'all go to that and made y'all go to the...
They did the same thing with my pro shuttle too.
Yeah, it's because people like y'all are freaks and they don't really... And y'all are rare out there. But that goes to show you, I think, if... You didn't always want to be there.
What, at the gym?
Yeah. Not at first.
Well, no, not at first. But once you have people there that, that you become friends with and that, drive each other, it makes you want to go. It makes you want to be there. It makes you want to get better. It makes you want to help the other person get better too. It's a team.
Yeah, and I think that's what made everybody good. And I think times now I've got some really good athletes, but I think sometimes to make them and push them over the edge is they need to be consistent. They need to bring their friends.
Yeah.
To where they got to create something, just like y'all started off at very lightweight. I mean, y'all started no 45s to 445s on bench.
Yeah.
And, messing around in the garage, you squat 95 pounds, and now you've been over 600.
Yep.
You started off less than 100. Colton started off less than 100. Alex Yelverton started off less than 100. And what y'all have in common is y'all have all squatted 600 plus.
Yeah. I have to go around in the gym I work out at now to find a bar that will actually hold the weight, because there's ones that are already pre-bent and I can't use that because it flexes even more.
Yeah, that's funny because it's once you've been at the gym and you go to an average gym,
it's completely different.
And Katie McCormick was messaged me the other day. It's weird.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same atmosphere. It's not. You don't know anybody. And then you start critiquing what other people are doing in there. You're like, well, why is that guy doing that? That makes no freaking sense at all.
Yeah, you'll see them. They'll have ADD and they'll go from curls to bench press.
Well, that's all. There's guys squatting. What do you have, like 405 on the bar, and he wasn't even doing a half squat. He was sitting there grunting and making all these noises, and there's no point.
Yeah, I think it'd be miserable to walk into an average gym. What do you think? There's other gyms around local trying to do sports performance and things like that, but they're going to be more fancy, more air conditioned, and trying to sell.
Yeah, that's the one thing I love about wintertime is coming into the gym with, sweatpants and a hoodie and, pulling the hood over and squatting with the hood on. That's probably one of my favorite things. And when you go to a freaking average gym, you can't do that because I got the freaking heat blasting in there.
Yeah, we're whatever the temperature is outside. It's been 100 degrees in the gym in the summer because we just roll up the doors and we don't have air conditioning.
You just got the breeze. That's
and
it.
Geez, remember the middle gym, the second gym?
Yeah.
We didn't have heat in there. We had to bring that blower in and fill it full of diesel fuel to heat the gym because we didn't have heat.
That's how bad it was.
But I think that's what kind of made it, or give it the atmosphere that we needed. You know, people look at the gym now. People come in. I said this. It really pissed me off. They think you go to a gym. There's a lot of gyms all over that has a squat rack, a bench.
You don't see a gym with 7, 8 squat racks that are also bench racks.
Yeah, but some people look. Oh, I can go buy that offline. You know. I think sometimes, like, if you're looking at going to explosive mechanics, or if you're looking at going to a gym down the street or another performance gym down the street, I think people walk in and they want clean looking equipment that they've never seen.
Oh yeah, I know. There's literally at an average gym, there's a spray bottle and rags everywhere you look. And I remember leaving the gym and I'd have brown stains on my hand because maybe the humidity was bad that day, and you don't really care about it. It's grungy, but that's what's part of the atmosphere.
Yeah, the kids that come to the gym after it's been raining, that humidity hits the bars because it's basically an open gym to the elements. Jared, you need to clean your bars. They got brown stuff all over here. That's rust. Every time it rains outside, the bars get humid, so they're gonna have some little rust on them. Yeah. Just toughen up, and you'll be all right.
Exactly.
You know, like we got squat racks and benches, and just it looks average equipment, but we have the equipment we need to get results, not sell a service or sell a fancy looking apparel, or hey man, what's that machine? Oh, they got a nice little machine over here.
Not a bunch of just random cable machines.
Yeah, we're not selling. The only reason you should come to the gym is if you want to get better. You know, if you're looking for something fancy, if you want some dot drill or some agility drill, that's just feeding your current thought process, you know. So anyway, Cody, it's been fun. Thanks for being on. You want to give out your Instagram, or are you going to be like everybody else and not on that crap, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm getting rid of it all. I'm trying to get away from social media.
That's funny because you are the Spieka, Lasky. It's kind of funny, you know. Y'all are all kind of getting away with that, but y'all are still young, and so that's fine. But anyway, if anyone has any questions, please email me at info@Explosive Mechanics. Follow me on Explosive Mechanics on Instagram, at Explosive MEC on Twitter. Thanks for listening.